Very good afternoon to all of you. Myself, Dr. Swati, Assistant Professor Law, Allahabad Degree College, University of Allahabad. I, along my two co-author, Anurag, Research Scholar, Central Institute of Mining and Fuel Research, Dhanbad, and Professor Mani Pratap, Assistant Professor Law, Central University of South Bihar. For this Viksit Bharat Conference 2047, we three are going to present a paper, Chemical Bond Pollution Through Unprocessed Coal in India, an analysis on the landscape of science, economy, and illegal aspect. If you see, the energy is the parameter for the development index of each country in the world. India has its variety of sources for energy consumption. For example, fossil fuel, wind energy, solar energy, and nuclear energy, etc. The fossil fuel is one of the old and traditional source for the domestic household and many industries in their cooking, manufacturing, industrial use, and other uses as well. Whereas due to less availability of fossil fuel and more carbon emission, the alternative energy sources are identified and used in India. The fossil fuel consists mainly of the petroleum products and the carbon products, and it is processed in a refinery or coal washery or coal beneficiation plants, and then it is used in industry for thermal power plants or for domestic purposes. Even after the processing of the coal, it emits lots of carbon, other polluting substances. And in this paper, we three are highlighting or going to highlight here as to the unprocessed coal which is used by the tribal community unknowingly, and they are dependent upon the fossil fuel for their daily work, because that is the part of their life. So they are unknowingly using this coal, and the scientific repercussions of the unprocessed coal in any industry or in any other way, it releases SOx, NOx, CO, etc. And when these coal reserves come in contact with running water, the chemicals leach into the water and contaminate the local water bodies, and it turn into acidic water. The challenges are scientific also, legal also, and economic also in the nature itself. And in this paper, the researcher is trying to find out what are the scientific repercussions of these pollution, and what are the challenges for the unprocessed coal use, and its effect into the water, and its effect on the health, and what are the legal laws, policy measures to prevent these kinds of pollution, and to reduce the emission of the pollution from the unprocessed coal, and how to contribute in the mission and vision of the Viksit Bharat vision of 2047. Thank you.
Dr. Swati has selected the topic that is very contemporary in today's era, that is chemical bond pollution through unprocessed coal in India, an analysis on the landscape of science, economy, and legal aspects. Dr. Swati has rightly stated that the energy is the parameter for the development index of each country in the world. That's very true. And India, being so diverse country, has its variety of sources of energy consumption. For example, like we have fossil fuels, wind energy, solar energy, nuclear energy, etc. Fossil fuel being the oldest one and traditional one, now it is in the verge of being exhausted. So one needs to find a thing or an energy resource which is sustainable in itself. And as we are living in the era of achieving economic prosperity along with sustainable development, where as economic disparity is one of the reasons for use of such unprocessed coal and unaddressed contamination of water in river, which causes many chemical borne disease, which requires a scientific research as well as a very strict legal control on it. The researcher has very well examined the existing laws and the policy measures to prevent, regulate, and abate the chemical borne pollution from the finding and suggestions and possible solutions, very apt solutions to overcome such challenges, which will enable to achieve a definite sustainable development goal 2020. Very nice topic. Very well attempted. Thank you.
A very warm greetings to the respected panelists and to the dear listeners. This is Tamasi Biswas, Assistant Professor and Legal Research Scholar from the Department of Law at Madras University, West Bengal. I represent Kolkata, known as the cultural capital of India. My topic lies the donation of wisdom from traditional knowledge, breaking the breathless cycle of unrecognized discovery. There is a strange paradox at the heart of India's relationship with its own discovery. A civilization that gave zero, yoga, Ayurveda, and metallurgical marvels, sophisticated legal philosophies, which continues to whisper when it should proclaim. Mathematical revolution, which was initiated from the fields and grounds of India, was demanded by the very Western nations on a very illogical ground. India's greatest export potential lies not in its manufactured goods or IT services, but in its cultural variations and enlightenment imbued with its traditional knowledge. Yet this treasures remains unlocked in the cycle of silence discoveries, dismissed and left breathless in the shadow of global recognition. India contributes to human civilization with a catalogue of transformative ideas. The concept of zero revolutionized mathematics. The sophisticated urban planning of the Indus Valley civilization predated European cities by millennium, but which remains a footnote in the global consciousness. Shruta performed plastic surgery in ancient times. Aryabhatta calculated planetary positions with stunning accuracy. Traditional water harvesting system which has revolutionized Indian agriculture, making it the strongest in agriculture products, has also been in the grounds of India, which has remained unrecognized and uncelebrated through centuries. This is no accident that the result of a febrile mix of historical trauma, colonial conditioning, and a cultural difference has sought into self effacement. All of which sounds very familiar. The pattern repeats itself even today. When Indian scientists break through, they are framed as individuals rather than product of a culture that values inquiry and knowledge. When traditional practices gain global attention, meditation, turmeric's healing properties, neem's antibacterial qualities, they are often repackaged into Western norms and sold via Western brands. Modern legal system also confront to many serious challenges. Courts are often swamped, adversarial processes frequent polarization rather than harmonization of conflicts. Formal legal institutions may be either inaccessible or culturally inhospitable. The Indian approach to intellectual property has held knowledge as a collective heritage rather than individual monopoly. And thus, we talk about geographical indication and not individual indication. This offers alternatives from the global IP regimes. The Indians work as a community. The individualistic aspect of India has always been absent. The traditional knowledge digital library already demonstrated how the documentation of indigenous knowledge can help in prevention of biopiracy and protection of cultural heritage in an international level. Then what are we talking about? We, in this paper, are talking about the strategies for global dissemination. The cost of this breathless innovation. The shortness of this breath, the inability to speak loudly at one's own success comes at a real cost. We has been unheard, we the Indians have been unheard for centuries, which has led to the fact that we do not claim our own credit. When India does not make claims on its intellectual legacy, others do. Patent on turmeric, basmati rice, and yoga poses by foreign entities represent not only economic loss but also cultural erasers. Now, what is the solution? We would require digging deep into the cultural and historical currents to understand why India receives its own discoveries through muted enthusiasms. We now need our academic institutions to talk about our culture. Let the younger generation avail and aware about the fact that we are the creators, we are also the discoverers of certain facts. Documentation and translation of this various knowledge of this various discoveries should be disseminated globally. The international forums like United Nations International Court of Justice, Human Rights Borders, and various other international forums should be taken into confidence. And this cultural adversaries, I believe, would also emphasize in creation of economic stability and international relations. The nation now demands a practical demonstration of this traditional principles through various nyalayas, tribal justice system, and alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. This would require digging into deep cultural roots of the Indian society. Unfortunately, India's bureaucratic and institutional framework too seldom support the cause of cultural promotion. Other countries has heavy investment in the areas of cultural diplomacy, but India lags in that aspect. The transformation of India's relationship with its own genius needs to be effected on many planes. The education system needs to be so transformed that the student learns about the Indian heritage with the same thoroughness as Western history and sciences. Media publication, both traditional and digital, must play a role. The cultural appropriation and vicious cycle of this unrecognized discovery should be broken. Cultural confidence must be enhanced with more resilience and recognition through the social media platform, which acts as a great weapon in the hands of the youngsters. So, we would conclude with the point that this beautiful plurality of the Indian culture should be represented with a philosophical tradition which would break the colonial legacy. Centuries of being told Indian knowledge was superstitions, created internalized narratives of inferiority. This inferiority should be broken so that the various discoveries should be showcased in the foreign forums. This would create environmental wisdom, which we know ecological knowledge of sacred groves, and traditional agriculture of household products and Ayurvedic knowledge would be posing. Yoga and meditation would ensure holistic well-being. When we are talking about mental well-being of the nation, yoga and meditation is thoroughly a reformative idea which can resolve mental health epidemics. This study would like to conclude that the media narrative should be changed, policy and investment plans should be reconstructed, and the Indian cultural heritage should be showcased in the global market. The Indians should no longer be silenced about their own discoveries, but promotion in such a way that not only ensures economic stability but ensures that development in India is required only because its cultural well-being, its cultural well-being. Thank you. Thank you for giving the time.
Dr. Sri Gauri Kosuri. Her topic is legal education, a key driver of Viksit Bharat at 2047. Madam has stated in her paper that Viksit Bharat expresses India's aspiration to become a developed, just, and knowledge driven republic by the centenary of independence, making higher education reform a national priority. Madam has very well stated that legal education is the heart of every nation. It is through this legal education and it is through this Indian knowledge system, Bharatiya jurisprudence, vernacular legal cultures, and community centric justice practice. That is what makes India a truly Viksit in its sense, and that's when we will be called as Viksit Bharat. The paper has concluded with concrete recommendations for Law University, which is very nice and very interesting, the regulators, professional bodies to operationalize the vision through phased implementation, drawing on both classical Indian jurisprudence and contemporary constitutional commitments. Madam has tried to justify the topic very well and has very well cleared and very well emphasized on the policies and the main aim of Viksit Bharat. Very nice. Thank you.
ભારતમાં ચૂંટણી પંચ અને રાજકારણનું ગુનાહિતકરણ, કાનૂની માળખું, અમલીકરણ, પડકારો અને લોકશાહી અખંડિતતા માટેના ભવિષ્યના માર્ગો. પાંભર ઉમેશ હસમુખભાઈ, રિસર્ચ સ્કોલર, મોનાર્ક યુનિવર્સિટી. ડૉક્ટર હરિસિંહ જાડેજા, અધ્યાપક સહાયક, મોનાર્ક યુનિવર્સિટી. રાજકારણનું ગુનાહિતકરણ ભારતની લોકશાહી વ્યવસ્થા સામેના સૌથી ગંભીર પડકારોમાંના એકાંતરિક ઉભરી આવ્યું છે. બંધારણીય સુરક્ષા, વૈધાનિક નિયમો, ન્યાયિક સક્રિયતા અને નાગરિક સમાજની સતત ભાગીદારી હોવા છતાં ચૂંટણી રાજકારણમાં ગુનાહિત ભૂતકાળ ધરાવતા વ્યક્તિઓની વધતી જતી ભાગીદારી સતત ચાલુ છે. સ્વતંત્ર અને ન્યાયિક ચૂંટણી સુનિશ્ચિત કરવા માટે બંધારણીય તે આદેશિક ભારતીય ચૂંટણી પંચ આ પડકારોનો સામનો કરવા માટે કેન્દ્રીય સ્થાન ધરાવે છે.
પંભર ઉમેશ હસમુખભાઈ કે જેઓ રિસર્ચ સ્કોલર છે મોનાર્ક યુનિવર્સિટીના, તેઓ આજના સમય પર પ્રવર્તમાન અને ખૂબ જ વિચાર માંગી લે એવો વિષય ભારતમાં ચૂંટણી પંચ અને રાજકારણનું ગુનાહિતીકરણ, કાનૂની માળખું, અમલીકરણ, પડકારો અને લોકશાહી અખંડિતતા માટે ભવિષ્યના માર્ગો વિષય પર પોતાનું આર્ટિકલ પબ્લિશ કર્યું છે, જે ખરેખર ખૂબ રસપ્રદ છે. એમણે જે લખ્યું તે પ્રમાણે રાજકારણનું ગુનાહિતકરણ ભારતની લોકશાહી વ્યવસ્થા સામે સૌથી ગંભીર પડકારોમાંનું એક તરીકે ઉભરી આવ્યું છે. બંધારણ જે આપણી સુરક્ષા માટે છે, જે કાયદા માટે છે, જે વિવિધ કાયદાઓ આપણા માટે છે, તેમાં ગુનાહિતીકરણ થાય એ ખરેખર ખૂબ જ ગંભીર બાબત છે. ચૂંટણી ડેટા, વિવિધપૂર્ણ સાહિત્યનો ઉપયોગ કરવો, આજની જે આપણે બધી પરિસ્થિતિઓ જોઈએ છે તે ખરેખર વિચાર માંગી લે છે. અભ્યાસનું તારણ કાઢવામાં આવ્યું છે કે નિર્ણાયક માળખાકીય સુધારા અને રાજકીય ઈચ્છાશક્તિ વિના અપરાધીકરણ, લોકશાહી જવાબદારી, શાસન ગુણવત્તા અને ભારતની ચૂંટણી સંસ્થાઓમાં જાહેર વિશ્વાસને ઘટાડતું રહેશે. Yes, the topic is very interesting. The researchers has very deeply concentrated into it. પંભર ઉમેશ હસમુખભાઈ અને ડૉક્ટર હરસિંહ જાડેજા, અધ્યાપક સહાયક મોનાર્ક યુનિવર્સિટી, બંને ખૂબ જ સારો ન્યાય આપ્યો છે ટૉપિક પર અને ખૂબ જ વિચાર માંગી લે એવો ટૉપિક પસંદ કર્યો છે. થેન્ક યુ.
Welcome to the fourth digital conference of Viksit Bharat at the rate 27 organized by Vedanta Knowledge Systems. I thank to the organizer of the conference for keeping this conference in digital mode, and today's my topic for the conference is overall development of legal ethics in global legal education. I, Dr. Ruchi Trehan from Tolani Motwani Institute of Law, is hereby going to present my paper for the concerned subject. I had mentioned in this regarded conference that some development of legal ethics is really necessary in our country to promote the students studying the legal curriculum for the design either for the 3 years of LLB course or for the 5 years of integrated course. Much weightage has been kept on keeping the formal subjects in the curriculum, but regarding the legal ethics which the students should be taught in whole of this their student life is not derived yet, and the complete profession has been professionalized. There is a mushrooming of legal education all over the country, but the basic fundamentals of our real life have not been taught to any of our students. That's why they are demanding and charging high fees from their clients, either they worth or not worth for it. Now, why the fundamental rights in our constitution also includes the right to education, the basic purpose regarding our right to education in as mentioned in Article 21A of Constitution of India, that compulsory education should be given to all the students. And what is the purpose derived from this compulsory education given to the students is that they should learn certain moral, legal ethics, they should know about the constitution. From that era till they are getting professionalized after graduation, no basic values are being taught to our students. Particularly I am telling about the legal profession, as I have an experience of 18 plus more years in this field, hence I had noticed many of the things. Now, why the code of legal ethics should be mentioned as in our syllabus? The basic reason behind that is that no proper law has been enacted yet. Only rules are there. No doubt there is an Advocates Act in our Bar Council of Bar Council System Analysis. Advocates Act 1961 is there, and many provisions are also being taught that what should be the ground of role of a lawyer regarding his clients, what is the bar bench relations, what are the role of a lawyer towards the court, towards the bench. But even though those ethics are only on paper, no legal rule has been mentioned yet. Finally, what I want to conclude in my paper is that certain development of ethics should be made, at grassroots level, so that a proper globalization of legal profession is hereby maintained in our country. Thank you all for listening my paper. I really feel very much honored to give a brief analysis regarding my paper. Thank you.
Development of professional ethics in legal education is the topic selected by Dr. Ruchi Trehan. Madam has very rightly stated that in every democratic system of government, there are some rights which are guaranteed by fundamental rights. Among them, the best and the most important and the basic is right to education. In ancient time, we used to have Gurukul system, but now it is all diminished, and because of that, and because of the diminishing Gurukul system, the ethics or the professional ethics or the samskar in a person is also diminishing. So, in order to enrich the quality of ethics and the quality of education, professional ethics should be added in any profession, and skill performance should be supported and encouraged. Very nice and interesting topic, and very well attempted. Congratulations, Dr. Ruchi. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. I am Dr. SRIGOURI, Professor, Savita School of Law, Savita University, Chennai. My topic is Legal Education, a key driver of Viksit Bharat at 2047. Viksit Bharat at 2047 expresses India's aspiration to become a developed, just and knowledge-driven republic by the centenary of independence, making higher education reform a national priority. Within this broader agenda, legal education occupies a pivotal role because it shapes lawyers, judges, civil servants, and policymakers who design and operate the justice system and governance architecture. This paper examines how higher education viewed through a legal education lens can be restructured around Indic priorities such as Indian knowledge system, Bharatiya jurisprudence, vernacular legal cultures, and community-centric justice practices while remaining aligned with global standards. Drawing on Legal Education Policy 2020, recent scholarship on IKS integration, and emerging institutional policies, the paper proposes a five-pillar framework for reform: curricular redesign, research and IKS integration, skills and technology, governance and regulation, and access, language, and ethics. It argues that consciously embedding Indic perspectives in legal education can decolonize epistemologies, deepen social relevance, and enhance ethical orientation, thereby contributing to the realization of Viksit Bharat 2047. The paper concludes with concrete recommendations for law universities, regulators, and professional bodies to operationalize this vision through phased implementation, drawing on both classical Indian jurisprudence and contemporary constitutional commitments. Thanking you for giving this opportunity.
Namaskar. I am Professor Parul Yadav from Amity University, Haryana. I am pleased to chair this session of the 4th International Virtual Multidisciplinary Conference themed From Gurukul to Global, Paving the Path to Viksit Bharat at 2047, Restructuring Higher Education with Indic Priorities, which is organized by Vedant Knowledge Systems. I extend my sincere congratulations to Dr. Arjun Dave and the organizing team for conceptualizing and executing this intellectually rich and timely conference. Such initiatives play a vital role in reimagining higher education through India's knowledge traditions. Today I am going to chair a session in which almost 13 papers will be presented. I welcome all presenters and participants and look forward to insightful deliberations.
My name is Ashutosh Rajpoot, and today I'm going to present the topic in the conference, which is related to the comparative life assessment of packaged drinking water in emerging economies, which is somewhere related to the themes of the conference. And so we go further. So what is the idea and the core focus of this paper? So it examines how the packaged drinking water industry in India and Kazakhstan impacts the environment using the life cycle assessment approach. And what is the life cycle assessment approach? Life cycle assessment approach is nothing but is the study from a thing and from a product from cradle to grave. I mean from the birth to the death. And if we further extend, so from the production to the consumption and to the disposable uh, units. So what is the key idea behind this? So instead of looking only to the consumption, it studies the entire supply chain from raw material extraction, PET bottle production, then PET bottle, it is the plastic based bottle, and bottling, transportation, uses, and the waste disposable. So here in India, there is so much concern about the plastic, and the plastic bottle also make the lots of trash and lots of pollution. So and we can say that there is a huge percentage of the plastic waste come from the waste bottles. So here this is the topic where we discuss about this problem by comparing the two emerging economies, which is Kazakhstan and India. So what is the comparative angle between them? So by comparing India, it is a large market, informal recycling but heavy carbon footprints. And the Kazakhstan, it is a smaller market, low recycling and high transportation related emission. The study highlights the context specific challenges. So basically India is a large and Kazakhstan is a smaller. So where we can define and uh, where we can take the two edges of this topic. From the one is the from largest country and the second is from the smallest country. It is not smallest in the size, but it is smallest in the population and the other things. So what is the ecological innovation in it? So how we can solve this problem with the packaged drinking water and from bottle itself. So this topic points out the solution for sustainability such as the biodegradable alternatives to the PET bottles, which is the PLA, PHN, algal-based packaging, and closed loop recycling and deposit return systems, and refillable containers and reduced single-use plastics and integration of the renewable energy in the production and distribution. So basically, it is the whole soul of the research paper where we can going to discuss about this. So it is the introduction the why packaging water is important in the growing economy. So basically, it public health safeguards because it's for the publicity, it is easy to carry, and for the mobility and for the branding and for you can say that the trust of the people. So by this they can purchase this bottle. So what is the global expansion of this packaged drinking water? So Asia Pacific bottle market accounted for the revenue share 45.6% in 2024. So basically it is increasing rapidly, but here unfortunately, in India, we don't have any such things for the recycling of this uh, water bottle. So this is the global data from where the bottled water market it is increasing day by day, and the why factor why this is increasing the health conscious driving demand, market trends, and the growth and lifestyle changes of the people. So we are going to discuss a lot in this talk in this research paper, and so I hope we look forward for this, and thank you so much.
The first paper was presented by Ashutosh Rajpoot, a research scholar from National PG College, Lucknow. And the presentation is titled as Comparative Life Cycle Assessment of Packaged Drinking Water in Emerging Economies. This paper presents a comprehensive and timely comparative life cycle assessment of packaged drinking water in two emerging economies, India and Kazakhstan, where bottled water functions not merely as a consumer good but as a critical public health resource. One of the key strengths of this study lies in its comparative design. The juxtaposition of India's informal yet relatively active recycling ecosystem with Kazakhstan's weak and largely landfill dependent system provides valuable insights into how institutional structures shape environmental outcomes. Overall, the paper is strong. The next presenter was Divya Bajpayee Tripathi from Galgotia University, Greater Noida. The title of presentation was The Ramayana and the Mahabharata, evidencing as part of ancient history rather than a part of mythology. This paper presents a thoughtful and well-argued reassessment of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, positioning them as historical epics rooted in collective memory rather than as purely mythological texts. Its strength lies in integrating Indian epistemological frameworks with comparative Indo-European scholarship, offering a balanced critique of colonial historiographical classifications. Overall, the paper makes a meaningful contribution to debates on historicity, memory, and the nature of history in ancient civilizations. However, the study would benefit from a short section outlining how different types of evidence, archaeological, philological, oral, virtual, are weighted and interpreted. Without this, the argument may appear cumulative rather than analytical.
Namaskar. I, Dr. Akleshwar Mathur from Jodhpur, Rajasthan, is going to present my research paper entitled Rajasthani Marna Global Prospectus and Challenges at the Rate of Path of Viksit Bharat 2047. Welcome in the conference from Gurukul to Global, Paving Path to Viksit Bharat at the rate of 2047, Restructuring Higher Education with Indic Priorities. My presentation is based upon the scope of folk arts of Rajasthan with reference to the goals of Viksit Bharat 2047. This work is the upgraded work from my research paper presented in the previous workshop by the same organization, and it is based upon the suggestions given by the expert in the conference. First, I would like to introduce the issues regarding this folk art. The challenges among the artists to face the technically era, correlation of folk arts to the new education policy, economic upgradation of the local folk artists, and global recognition of the folk arts of Rajasthan. As we know that initially this art was limited to the villages and the rural areas and specific to a particular communities in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. But later on, with the development of new resources and globalization, it reached to the cities and towns. But the canvas has been changed. It means that initially it was made on the floors and the raw walls of the mud, made by mud with the natural colors. But now, since it is applied in the cities or in towns or the infrastructure areas, so nowadays we are using a number of synthetic materials in this art, which is not appropriate for the natural art. Now I discuss about the global prospectus of this art. Marna art is getting more attention through art galleries and museums. Basic geometric patterns are common in textile and gift items. Many of the traditional folk artists have built up their own business and training platform on both modes of communication, that is in online mode as well on the offline mode. And the most important thing, the events and planning of the central and the state government to organize a number of events based on the folk art. The best example are Lok Kala ke Rang, Kalakar ke Sang and Kala Sanskriti Vikas Yojana. So a number of art event has been organized by the different government and NGOs to enrich the art. Now I will take a brief about the challenges and threats against this art. After development of the art, there are still some challenges in front of us. Limited space in urban area to make the traditional art. The use of synthetic color in place of natural color like geru and chuna used in the Marna art. And formal trainings are still very slow as compared to the other folk arts or the traditional or the modern arts. Now, what will be the outcomes of this type of research? We are focused on the economic empowerment, the women entrepreneurship and presentation of the cultural heritage among the world. The overall conclusion of my research paper is we have to reset the proper facilities of the local artist. We have to produce empowerment and employment to the local artists and women. We have to prevent the urban migration by providing very good facilities in the rural areas to the local artists who are not economically rich. And we have to create good economy by this art, by the incorporation of new students and new education policy and restructuring the educational structure. And we have to start global export, but in the natural form of this art. So this was all about my research paper. Thank you so much.
The next presenter was Dr. Akleshwar Mathur from Jodhpur, Rajasthan, and the title of presentation was Rajasthani Mandana, Global Prospectus and Challenges at Path of Viksit Bharat 2047. This presentation has many highlights. Firstly, it aligns Rajasthani Mandana art with Viksit Bharat 2047 and NEP 2020, making it nationally relevant and policy-oriented. It effectively traces Mandana's traditional roots, materials, symbolism, and community-based transmission, reinforcing its sustainability and eco-friendly nature. The emphasis on rural women artisans and community development strengthens the paper's social and economic relevance. Inclusion of government schemes demonstrate institutional understanding and practical grounding. Overall, the paper is conceptually strong and socially meaningful. It has a strong potential to contribute to scholarship or on folk arts, creative economy, and sustainable cultural development.
Myself, Dr. Rami Ankita, PUNI Goswami College of Arts, Monarch University. मेरा जो टॉपिक है वैदिक व्यवस्था में शिक्षण और सामाजिक जीवन की अवधारणा। अहम राष्ट्रीय संगमनी वसुनाम चिकित्तिषु प्रथमा यज्ञबयान ताममा देवा व्यदुदुः पुरुषा भूरिस्थात्रम भूर्य वैशन्यम। ऋग्वेद के अंदर 10वें मंडल का ये तीसरा श्लोक है। मैं वाणी राष्ट्रीय ईश्वरी और वसुओं को एकत्रित करने वाली हूँ, परम ब्रह्म तत्व का साक्षात्कार करने वाली हूँ और यजन करने के योग्य देवता गण में अग्रगण्य हूँ। वेदों की महिमा अनंत है। मनुष्य के जीवन में धर्म, अर्थ, काम, मोक्ष जैसे 4 चतुर्विध पुरुषार्थ की प्राप्ति के लिए वेदों की जानकारी अति आवश्यक है। मैक्स मुलर महोदय ने भी कहा है कि जब मनुष्य अपने वंश के इतिहास के बारे में रस और रुचि रखेगा और जब तक हम ग्रंथालयों और संग्रहालयों में प्राचीन युगों के अवशेषों की संग्रहित करेंगे, तब तक आर्य जाति के मानवों के संस्मरण से युक्त पुरुषों की श्रेणी में प्रथम स्थान ऋग्वेद का ही होगा। मनुस्मृति में भी वेद का महत्व बताते हुए कहा गया है कि मनुष्य को आलस त्याग कर देना चाहिए। वेदों का ही यथा काल उनको सतत अभ्यास करना चाहिए। शतपथ ब्राह्मण में भी वेदों के अध्ययन की महत्ता बताई दी गई है। वेदों में दृष्टिगोचरता, कविता, धर्म और समाज के अभ्यासी को यह बात ज्ञात होती है। वैदिक युग में शिक्षण क्षेत्र प्रगति के पथ पर गतिशील था। उस समय ज्ञान की प्रतिष्ठा परम सीमा पर पहुंची हुई थी। वेदकालीन विद्वानों ने अक्षर ज्ञान के साथ साथ अनुभूति का ज्ञान भी आत्मज्ञात किया गया था। ऋग्वेद के 10वें मंडल में सुप्रसिद्ध ज्ञान सूक्त के अंदर अंगिरस बृहस्पति नाम के ऋषि की मोक्ष की प्राप्ति कराने वाला परम ब्रह्म विषयक ज्ञान की स्तुति की गई है। हमको ध्यान में रखते हुए शौनक ने बृहद देवता में भी उचित ही कहा है कि बृहस्पति ने सुंदर ज्योति समान परम ब्रह्म की प्राप्ति कराने वाले ज्ञान की उन्होंने स्तुति की है। अंगिरस बृहस्पति ने वैयाकरणों के ज्ञान के प्राप्ति के पुरुषार्थ को उत्प्रेक्षा के माध्यम द्वारा व्यक्त किया गया है। जो व्यक्ति विद्वान, ऋषि और कांतदर्शी है, उसके लिए वाणी प्रसन्न होकर संपूर्ण वेद मंत्रार्थों का प्रकट करती है। इस बात की पुष्टि के लिए ऋषि ने एक सुंदर उपमा का भी प्रयोग किया है। जैसे पति के मिलन के लिए उत्सुक और सुंदर वस्त्र में सज्ज नारी अपने पति के समक्ष अपने रूप को दर्शाती है, उसी तरह वैसे ही वेदवाणी भी अपने यथार्थ वेदार्थ को कवि की सन्मुख प्रकट करती है। वेदकालीन प्रजा का दृढ़तया मानना है कि ज्ञान या सरस्वती पवित्र और शक्तिमान होनी चाहिए। वेदकालीन ऋषि धन के बल पे और बलिष्ठ विद्या की उपासना करते हैं। जैसे कि ऋग्वेद के अंदर प्रथम मंडल में ऋषि कहते हैं कि सबको पावन करने वाली बाज धन से बलयुक्त और बुद्धि रूपी धन वाली सरस्वती हमारे यज्ञ की कामना करे। महान समुद्र के जैसी सरस्वती अपने प्रकाश के समग्र संसार को चैतन्य रूप से हमको ज्ञान प्रदान करे। अथर्ववेद में भी बताया गया है कि वेदकालीन समाज में श्रुत अर्थात ज्ञान की महिमा होनी चाहिए। हम सदा ज्ञान से युक्त हो और हमको ज्ञान से विमुख कभी न करे। समग्र वेद का निष्कर्ष जिसमें दर्शित किया गया है वह सुप्रसिद्ध गायत्री मंत्र भी बुद्धि योग की उपासना की गई है। ऋषियों के सर्जन, चिंतन, दर्शन और अभिव्यक्ति में शिक्षण संस्था का भी बहुत मूल्य प्रदान है। शिक्षण संस्था में गुरु शिष्य प्रणाली और आश्रम निवासी प्रचलित थे। उपनिषद में तो हर जगह पे सुस्पष्टता का निर्देश किया गया है। गुरुजनों के आसपास आसन ग्रहण करके हुए शिष्य को मंडूक की उपमा दी गई है। सर्वप्रथम अध्यापक मंत्रों का उच्चारण करते थे और बाद में शिष्य वृंद उसका अनुपठन करते थे। तो इस तरीके का शिष्य गुरु जी पढ़ाए और शिष्य अध्ययन करे, ऐसा मेरा जो ये टॉपिक है कि वैदिक व्यवस्था में शिक्षण और सामाजिक जीवन की अवधारणा। थैंक यू, थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
Another presenter is Dr. Manish Kumar from IIT Varanasi, and the topic of his presentation is correlation of prime number with English and Hindi alphabets. The topic correlation of prime numbers with English and Hindi alphabets is relevant because it explores hidden structural patterns between language and mathematics, two foundational systems of human cognition. By linking alphabets with prime numbers, the study encourages interdisciplinary thinking, showing how linguistic order, numerical uniqueness, and cyclic concepts of time can be examined together rather than in isolation. Its relevance also lies in the comparative perspective, placing Hindi, Devanagari, and English on a common analytical platform highlights possible universal principles underlying different scripts and cultures. Overall, the study is conceptually rich and imaginative with a strong interdisciplinary appeal. It has the potential to evolve into a more robust scholarly contribution at the intersection of language studies, mathematics, and cultural philosophy.
Pranamaha to all. My name is Dr. Pijus Kanti Pal. Today in this conference, I will be presenting the Guru in Hindu tradition, a textual and conceptual study. To know the concept of Guru, here I have used three texts, Sri Guru Gita, well-known text on Guru, and two encyclopedias, Shabdakalpadrum and Vachaspattam. In Shabdakalpadrum and Vachaspattam, I have jot down the etymological meaning of Guru in different contexts, and I have figured out the three elements of Guru. Now look into the meaning, the etymological meaning of Guru. Gu, that is darkness, Ru, remover. So Guru stands for who removes our ignorance and darkness and enlightens us. Now take an example, a shloka from Sri Guru Gita. Gukaras chandakaro. Gukara means andhakara. He Rukaras teja uchyate. Light. Rukara means light. Who can remove our darkness. Adhyana grasakam. Guru is someone who can swelling up our ignorance. He is Brahman. Brahman Guru Reva na samsayaha. There is no doubt. Guru is Brahman. Now look into three elements of Guru Dharma, Vidya, and Jnanam. If we look into the core concept of Dharma in Indian knowledge systems, there are different texts where I have searched and identified a similar definitions. So here I have give some text: Vishnu Purana, Manusmriti, Matsya Purana, Bhanni Puranam, but the concept which is embedded in each and every definition of dharma is same. If you look into, you will see. Now, take one example from Vishnu Purana. What dharma means? Kshama, Satyam, Dama, Shaucham. All are Indic words. We Indians can know easily. Kshama, Satya, Dama, Saucha, Danam, Indriya Sanjama, Ahimsa, Guru Shushrusa, Tirthanusaranam, Arjavam, Lobhashunnatva, Deva Brahmana Pujanam, Anabhyasya means Asuya. So all are Dharma Samanya Uchyate. General meaning of Dharma, the accumulation of these virtues, human qualities. Not only in this text, there are several texts. In my PhD, I have accumulated 10 definitions like this as a case study and put extract the concept of dharma from these definitions. Now coming to Vidya, what is Vidya? Vidya is Atma Jnanam, the knowledge of soul. There are many commentators explain the term Vidya. We can see the similar understanding of different commentators. One is Medhatiti, Vidya Atma Jnanam. Here Here, Sarvajnanaran says Vidya Atmopasana. Vidya is contemplation or worship of the soul. And Kolluka says Vidya is self knowledge everywhere. So now coming to Jnanam. What is Jnanam? Na scriptural knowledge. Here I can read out Shankaracharya's explanation. Sastrataha acharyataha cha atmadi padarthanam avagamaha. So these are the three elements embedded in Guru. So if we look into associated words with in teaching and learning, the another is Shikshaka and Acharya. Acharya, yaha acharam dadati Acharya. Acharam grahayati achinoti arthan achinoti buddhim iti va. He is called Acharya because he makes the people adopt Achara. That's the right conduct. Conduct the disciplines which is a manifestation of virtues. So we have to go forward from Shikshaka to Acharya to Guru. Guru is the higher state of Indic understanding. See the qualities of gurus. Those are embedded in the concept of dharma. So in conclusion, we can say Guru is not the transmitter of knowledge; he is an embodiment, living embodiment of dharma. Bahu bahu dhanyavadaha pranamaha shubhamastu.
Next presenter is Dr. Pijus Kanti Pal. He is from Indian Knowledge System Division, Ministry of Education. And the topic of his presentation is The Guru in Hindi Traditions, a textual and conceptual study. This presentation offers a rigorous and comprehensive textual conceptual study of the Guru in Hindi traditions, grounded firmly in primary Sanskrit sources and classical lexicons. Its major strength lies in the clear differentiation and integration of dharma, vidya, and gyan. It presents the Guru as a moral exemplar, pedagogical authority, and transformative guide rather than a mere transmitter of knowledge. So, the paper successfully bridges classical thought with contemporary educational and ethical concerns, including reflections on AI based learning, making it a significant and original contribution to Hindi studies and philosophy of education.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Sameena Mir. I am working as an associate professor in School of Law, Ajinkya D.Y. Patil University. Today my topic is integration of Indian knowledge system in higher education, a study of student perception and learning outcome. I wanted to talk about the National Education Policy 2020 foregrounds Indian knowledge system as an integral component for curriculum renewal in Indian higher education. This paper sympathizes scholarly literature and policy documents to examine the rationale, approach, pedagogical models, challenges and implication of integrated Indian knowledge system into higher education. Using a critical review methodology, it maps existing empirical work on students' perception and learning outcomes related to Indian knowledge system, which includes the modules, identify the gaps, and purposes and empirically testable mixed method research design so that we can measure the effects on some of the important aspects. One is the conceptual understanding. Second is interdisciplinary thinking. Third is the culturally identity and motivation, which is also in 21st century skills, creativity, critical thinking. The review highlights the promising pedagogy, experiential learning, project-based learning, community-engaged scholarships, and institutional support, which is also included the curriculum redesign, teacher training, assessment, alignment, which is also necessary for effective integration. It also discusses epistemic and ethical issues, example, historicalization of traditional knowledge, quality assurance, and avoiding the essentialism. This paper will also include that how the actionable recommendations for the policymakers, curriculum designers and researchers and provide an instrumental blueprint for students' perception and learning outcome measurement. Key policy and academic sources for National Education Policy, UGC guidelines, IKSL, and recent empirical studies are cited throughout in this research because Indian knowledge system in higher education NEP 2020 curriculum are integrated with the students' perception because we are looking for the learning outcome so that we can fulfill the pedagogy and the interdisciplinary research education. Thank you so much.
Next presenter is Dr. Sameena from Ajinkya Patil University, and the topic of her presentation is Integration of Indian Knowledge Systems in Higher Education, a study of student perception and learning outcomes. The relevance of this topic lies in its alignment with NEP 2020, emphasizing the incorporation of Indian knowledge systems to foster holistic education, cultural rootedness, and interdisciplinary learning in higher education. Studying student perceptions and learning outcomes provide critical insights into the effectiveness of IKS integration, guiding curriculum design, pedagogy, and policy for 21st century skill development. However, the presenter can further enrich work by mentioning one or two specific IKS modules or case studies where integration has been successful. For example, Ayurveda, Yoga, or Sanskrit based studies to make the review more grounded.
Hello, good morning, friends. My research paper on the topic name is Chakra Science, a multidimensional exploration of energy, psychology, and physiology. Abstract. The chakra system, rooted in ancient Sanskrit yogic literature, represents an organized, subtle energy model that governs human physical, psychological, emotional, and spiritual processes. While chakras are traditionally described as metaphysical structures composed of prana, means life force energy, modern research suggests parallels between chakra locations and neuroendocrine, psychological, and bioelectromagnetic functions. This paper synthesizes classical yogic descriptions of the seven major chakras with modern scientific research in neuroscience, endocrinology, psychology, somatic therapy, and biofield science. Actually, chakra based interventions, including meditation, breath work, mantra chanting, and yogic postures, are associated with measurable changes in hormonal activity, autonomic nervous system balance, brainwave states, emotional regulation, and heart brain coherence. Although chakras are not directly measurable through standard anatomical tools, evidence suggests that they function as a bioenergetic and psycho emotional regulatory system. This research contributes an interrogate framework for understanding chakra science through traditional Sanskrit knowledge and contemporary empirical findings. Thank you.
Next presenter is Dr. Sanjeevani Narkar from Deglur, Maharashtra. And the topic of his presentation is Chakra Science, a multi-dimensional exploration of energy, psychology, and physiology. The paper Chakra Science, a multi-dimensional exploration of energy, psychology, and physiology, provides a thorough interdisciplinary analysis linking traditional chakra theory with modern scientific research in neuroscience, psychology, and physiology. It offers rich historical context from Sanskrit text while highlighting practical applications for mental health, emotional regulations, and holistic wellness. The discussion of psychobiological correlations and Jungian archetypes makes the study relevant for both academia and applied practice. The paper successfully bridges ancient knowledge and contemporary science, making it a valuable contribution to integrative health and wellness research. Next paper is presented by Professor Dr. Maheshkumar Vaghela from Lilia, Gujarat. And the topic of his presentation is गुरुकुल से ग्लोबल विश्वविद्यालयों तक भारतीय उच्च शिक्षा के पुनर्गठन में हिंदी भाषा की निर्णायक भूमिका. सो यह प्रेजेंटेशन भारतीय उच्च शिक्षा के ऐतिहासिक, वैचारिक और नीतिगत पुनर्गठन का एक गंभीर, समग्र और विश्लेषणात्मक अध्ययन प्रस्तुत करता है. इसकी सबसे बड़ी विशेषता यह है कि गुरुकुल परंपरा से लेकर समकालीन वैश्विक विश्वविद्यालयों तक की यात्रा को केवल शैक्षिक संस्थानों के विकास के रूप में नहीं, बल्कि भाषा, ज्ञान, मीमांसा और बौद्धिक संप्रभुता के संदर्भ में देखता है. ये बहुत ही अच्छा पेपर है, प्रेजेंटेशन है, और इसको और भी अच्छा किया जा सकता है अगर वैश्विक संदर्भ में हिंदी की स्वीकार्यता पर कुछ तुलनात्मक उदाहरण अगर इसमें डाले जाएं अन्य भाषाओं से, जैसे कि चीनी, जापानी से तुलना. ये लेख को और भी ज़्यादा समृद्ध कर सकते हैं.
Good day to everyone. From Gurukul to Global, Paving Path to Viksit Bharat at 2047. Restructuring higher education with Indic priorities. I am Gunalaxmi Gaitonde, a research scholar at Amity University, Mumbai. Topic, Indian Aesthetics and Global Dialogue. My topic, the Pano Baju in Transcultural Perspective. Goa's traditional design of Pano Baju gives insights on Indian aesthetics and global artistic dialogue. This paper examines a hybrid form of design, the Pano Baju, a case study in transculturation, adaptation, and aesthetic negotiation. Goa was ruled by Portuguese for 461 years. The result was a complex cultural landscape in which indigenous practices did not disappear but were reshaped with new religious, political, and aesthetic influences. It reflects how Indian aesthetics entered conversation with Iberian and global visual languages. It explores how did Goan craftsmen navigate pressures to adapt to European forms and norms. In what ways did they adapt materials, motifs, and techniques to balance local sensibilities with imported styles? The focus remains on how aesthetic designs were shaped by colonial power and innovated to suit the local women. The pano baju. A basic elements are a pano or a wrap skirt draped around the waist and pleated in the front. It creates the effect of a skirt but retains the logic of lungi. A baju or a blouse, waist length with sleeves and decorative details such as lace and embroidery. It reflects European bodices of the period but is adapted to local climate and taste. A matching shoulder covering like a dupatta completes the ensemble. The Pano Baju emerged in response to the pressure of the newly converted Catholic women to abandon older forms of dress. The Inquisition banned the wearing of Hindu garments in Goa, but many women were hesitant to adopt to European clothing which felt unfamiliar. The Pano Baju, a garment that visually satisfied European expectations of modesty while allowing women to retain familiar draped forms. There were different versions of the Pano Baju, from regular wear to beautiful bridal wear in red with embroidery. A recurring pattern is the hybrid structure of design in Pano Baju. The underlying structure of the blouse is European, but the wrap skirt, fabrics and colors are local. The second pattern is adaptation under constraint. Dress code, religious prescriptions shaped what artisans could do or could not do. It emerged precisely because indigenous garments were policed in Goa. A third pattern is resignification over time. The Pano Baju, which once marked respectability within the Catholic milieu, became a rare and romanticized reminder of a bygone era. A final point of stressing is the creativity. Even under unequal power relations, artisans found ways to shape the form they were asked to produce. They brought their own sensibilities into the design with very small details. With a global interest in India rising, the opportunity for revival is abound with creative application and design for designers. It now includes global markets, diaspora, and transnational heritage networks. Goan crafts, once shaped the empire, now help shape how Goa presents itself to the world. Thank you.
The next presenter is Ms. Gunalaxmi Gaitonde, and the topic of her presentation is Indian Aesthetics and Global Dialogue, the Pano Bhaju in Transcultural Perspective. This presentation on Indian Aesthetics and Global Dialogue, the Pano Bhaju in Transcultural Perspective, is well researched, conceptually rich, and interdisciplinary study that successfully situates our regional Goa garment within broader debates on Indian aesthetics, colonial encounter, and global cultural exchange. Its major strength lies in treating the Pano Bhaju not merely as a costume but as a material text that embodies transculturation, agency, and aesthetic negotiation under colonial power. Overall, the paper makes a valuable contribution to the study of Indian aesthetics, transcultural design history, and global dialogue. It offers an insightful case study that bridges local craft traditions with global theoretical concerns.
Namaste to the person in chair and co-participants of the 4th International Virtual Multidisciplinary Conference from Gurukul to Global, Paving Part to Viksit Bharat at 2047, Restructuring Higher Education with the Indic Priorities, organized by Vedanta Knowledge Systems Private Limited. I am Ms. Rajani Kanth, an ex-serviceman, a spiritual practitioner, currently working as assistant professor in Department of Computers at Sri Gnanabeka Degree College Autonomous, Madanapalli, Andhra Pradesh. I am honored to present my paper, Nature's Consciousness, the Sanatana Dharma. Though we are living in a physical world, we don't feel ourselves as merely a physic. Rather, we feel ourselves we are living in a conceptual world. The conceptual world is, in our terminology, say Vishayeka Prapancham, that is matter of different Vishayas. And in philosophical terminology, it is called Maya. The Maya is what something created. So the creation is of two types. One is creation by the Parabrahma, second one by our own human being. The creation of Brahma is called Kalpa, and our creation is called Vikalpa. Vikalpa is defined as Shabda Gnana Anupati Vastu Sunyo Vikalpaha by Yoga Shastra. Say, though there is no such physic existing called a teacher, we feel someone is my teacher. So this Maya, there are lot many people, there are all the people under influence of Maya. There are some people who are out of Maya. The people who are under influence of Maya are common man, and the one who is out of Maya is what? Agnani. And this Maya, say in Vikalpa, we have some basic terminology called Achara and Sampradaya. Achara is what we are supposed to do, and Sampradaya is what the way we are supposed to do. And these two are the part of something called Dharma. Dharma, otherwise, can be said the emotions and acts that are aligned with the nature. Say if your acts and our emotions are in line with nature, it is Dharma. This alignment is decided by rishis because no one is, no common man is qualified to define common emotions for all people. So it is not by materialists because a materialist decides which is the reason for the on and off states of a bulb, whereas rishis identified the electricity flow because of which the bulb is illuminating. And our languages versus English, it doesn't have lot much terminology like what we people have. There is no equivalent terminology for dharma. There is no equivalent terminology in English for Vandya, where Vandya is a woman who has not been blessed with a child through her married husband. So, because of the cultural difference, they don't have that kind of concept, so they don't have terminology. Karma is not merely a duty. Matam is something what our mati accepts, our mind accepts. It is not a simple religion, what is said in English. And Kula is not caste because we have Gurukula, we have Upakulapati. Kula has a different structure in India. And this dharma is for all the people who are in the Maya, say a common man, who are what they are supposed to follow, have been declared by rishis as Varna Dharma for balance of society. It is not for division. Varna is not for division of people, it is for balance of society. And Ashrama Dharma for balance of self. And the Linga Dharma is what? Gender specification is for balance of self with the nature and the enlightenment. Say, my paper gives proper clarity on misunderstandings by the people. And this is what blessings of my Guru. Say, the Varna is understood by a common man as through the birth, by a Gnani. Varna, he identifies Varna through the Guna. So we, as such, we are not Gnani, we are supposed to work out with our Varna based on birth. Ashrama is by the status, by the common man. And ashrama is identified by the karma of by Agnani. the gender, common man identifies gender with a physic, and Gnani identifies gender as a Purusha and Prakriti. And closing with this presentation of my paper, Nature's Consciousness, the Sanatana Dharma, I am once again thankful to Vedant Knowledge Systems and their team. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Next presenter is MS Rajani Kanth from Nanambika Degree College, Andhra Pradesh, and the title of his presentation is Nature's Consciousness, then Sanatan Dharma. This presentation is a rich exploration of Sanatan Dharma, grounded firmly in IKS. Its greatest strength lies in its civilizational perspective, where metaphysical, ethical, social, and ecological dimensions are woven together through Achar, Sampradaya, Varna, Ashrama, and Jeev Prakriti frameworks. The work successfully presents it as a nature-aligned, consciousness-based civilization model. Overall, this paper is a serious, original, and philosophically grounded contribution to the study of Sanatan Dharma and Indian knowledge systems. It offers not only interpretation but reorientation, inviting readers to understand society, self, and nature through an indigenous epistemic lens.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mrs.Ummu Aimen, PhD Research Scholar from the New College in Tamil Nadu. From Gurukul to Global, Paving Path to Viksit Bharat 2047 Restructuring Higher Education with Indic Priorities. Abstract. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Eleanor Roosevelt. The famous quotes for education all over the world. India's journey from Gurukul to Global reflects a civilizational continuum where ancient wisdom meets modern innovation. This paper explores restructuring higher education for Viksit Bharat 2047 through Indic priorities. It highlights curriculum integration of traditional knowledge, ethical leadership, inclusive access, and digital transformation. Research innovation, governance, reforms, sustainability, and global competitiveness form the backbone of this discourse. The paper argues for harmonizing Indic ethos with global standards to create holistic graduates, ethical leaders, and resilience, and institutions who help them to grow. By embedding value-based education, fostering multidisciplinary research, and leveraging technology, India can redefine higher education as a catalyst for national development. The framework envisions universities as knowledge sanctuaries that nurture equity, innovation, and global relevance, while remaining rooted in India's tradition. The mainly keywords for this are higher education, Indic priorities, Viksit Bharat, global competitiveness, value-based learning. Thank you.
Respected Chairperson, Honorable Jury, and distinguished delegates, I am Susmita Kumari, a research scholar from Lovely Professional University, and today I am delighted to present a novel perspective, the reinterpretation of ancient Egyptian wall art as a repository of early medical and chemical knowledge. When we think of ancient Egypt, we often imagine monumental architecture, hieroglyphics, and religious symbolism. Yet, beyond this rich cultural and spiritual canvas, there lies a layer of scientific knowledge encoded within temple and tomb art, a dimension that has remained largely unexplored, especially in India. While written medical texts such as Aber's Papyrus and the Edwin Smith Surgical Papyrus document advanced surgical techniques, trauma care, and herbal remedies, the visual depictions on walls may serve as an extension of this empirical knowledge. My research explored how Egyptian wall art functions as a symbolic medium to transmit medical and chemical expertise, possibly to elite priest physicians. Through symbiotic decoding and comparative visuals analysis, I focused on 4 key images. First, the god Anubis. God Anubis is depicted performing what appears to be a proto-anatomical procedure surrounded by canopic jars. Traditionally, these jars are interpreted as rituals vessels. However, my analysis suggests they may symbolize early biochemical preservation and organ care, reflecting the Egyptian empirical understanding of the human body. Second, in depiction of Hathor, we see her surrounded by vessels, mortars, and tweezers and cutting tools. These items resemble surgical and pharmacological instruments, indicating that her role extended beyond myth and rituals, possibly serving as a symbol of early healing practices and pharmacological instruction. Third image shows that another scene shows two male figures performing a therapeutic or diagnostic procedure. They use touch, water, fire, and offering in a multi sensory rituals. The eye of Horus in the scene may represent high tended anatomical awareness or health monitoring, suggesting an early understanding of diagnosis and holistic healing. Together, these images reveal that Egyptian wall art was not purely religious but also a visual medium for transmitting empirical knowledge. When paired with archaeological evidence such as surgical instruments found in Ombo, it becomes clear that temples and tombs functioned not only as sacred spaces but also a center of experimentation, instruction, and medical knowledge preservation. To the last of current research, no Indian researcher has yet proposed such as integrated scientific reinterpretation of Egyptian wall art. This study, therefore, represents a novel contribution from India, offering fresh insight into ancient medical and chemical practices and enriching global discussion of symbolic knowledge and intercivilizational exchange and the origin of empirical science. In conclusion, by analyzing wall art not merely as a religious imagery but as a scientific and symbolic archive, we can uncover the hidden wisdom of the Egyptians, bridging the gap between myth and empirical observation. These visual texts remind us that early civilizations often encoded knowledge in art and that the intellectual heritage of the past continues to enlighten us today. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Next presenter is Sushmita Kumari from lovely Professional University, Punjab. And the topic of her presentation is Reinterpreting Ancient Egyptian Wall Art as Evidence of Early Medical and Chemical Knowledge, a Visual and Symbolic Analysis. This presentation or the work is conceptually rich and aligns well with contemporary global debates on decolonizing the history of science. This paper is an ambitious, interdisciplinary, and intellectually stimulating study that challenges the long-standing dichotomy between myth and science in Egyptology. This study is a thought-provoking and intellectually courageous work that reclaims ancient Egyptian wall art as a sophisticated medium of empirical knowledge transmission. It not only enriches Egyptology but also invites scholars to rethink how ancient societies encoded, protected, and transmitted scientific wisdom through sacred visual cultures. So overall, this is a very good.
Hello, the paper I'm presenting is entitled Assessing the Sustainability and PPP Viability of a Modern Fish Lending Center in Assam's Rural Economy. This paper examines the sustainability and public-private partnership viability of establishing a modern fish lending center in Sunari, a flood-prone fish market in Goalpara district, Assam. The study applies a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis integrating economic feasibility, environmental resilience, and socio-economic inclusion. The results indicate strong financial viability and a payback period of about 3.5 years, driven largely by reduced post-harvest losses and improved market efficiency. The assessment also highlights key sustainability risks, including climate-induced flooding and increasing fish waste volumes, underscoring the need for resilience infrastructure and circular waste management solutions such as waste to fertilizer and animal feed conversion. To ensure operational efficiency and equity, the paper proposes a hybrid PPP model combining government capital support under Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, private sector management and community participation, supported by risk-sharing mechanism and transparent governance. The study contributes to fishery infrastructure literature by providing a micro-level viability analysis for a riverine district in northeast India, demonstrating how climate resilient FLC models can strengthen rural livelihood and advance blue economy objectives. Thank you.
Namaste to all. I am Dr. Sunil Kumar, session chair for this session. First, I congratulate to organize such a wonderful conference on Viksit Bharat 2047. I have reviewed the paper title Assessing the Sustainability and Triple P Viability of the Modern Fish Landing Center in Assam Rural Economy, presented by Bhavna Bhatt. This paper addresses a highly policy relevant issues in fishery infrastructure and rural development. The study shifts the focus from narrow financial feasibility to long-term sustainability and institutional viability. Its use extended cost benefit analysis, institutional assessment, and triple P comparison, integrating the climate resilience, circular economy, and governance perspective under PMMSY. A major strength of the paper is its strong analytical depth combined with clear policy orientations. The integrations of the economic modeling with institutional and triple P analysis is particularly commendable. The proposed hybrid public private model is realistic, context sensitive, and well justified. The paper can be further improved by sharpening the synthesis of the findings, adding a comparison triple P risk allocation table, and long analytical sections for clarity. Overall, this is a robust and impactful study. With minor refinement, it can significantly inform sustainable rural infrastructure planning in India. So at the end, I thanks again Team Vedant to organizing such a conference on Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you.
Hello everyone, myself Uteja Firdos working as an assistant professor at Amjad Ali Khan College of Business Administration at Banjara Hills from Hyderabad. So my topic today for the presentation is implementation of Indic priorities to reverse the brain drain in our country. So I choose this topic by considering the brain drain which is on peak nowadays. So the education plays a vital role in our country, not only for the development of economical development, but also for the social development in the society. The Ministry of India has been working so hard to retain the talent in the country, bringing the future generation to contribute more effectively towards the growth of and economical development of our country. This is need to be done by revising the curriculum of the academics and by restructuring the higher education. The Indic priorities objective from the National Education Policies 2020 and overall education system only possible by integrating the knowledge system, by integrating the Indian language with the mainstream disciplinary education, and regulating the framework by being ensure the transparency and the accountability and the quality of the education is being maintained in our country. Whereas when it comes to the introduction, by restructuring the Indian higher education with the Indi's priorities, the primary objective of National Education Policy of 2020 is to develop the overall system by integrating the Indian knowledge system Indian language mainstream, and multidisciplinary education. The regulatory framework is also ensuring the transparency and the accountability of the quality of the uh, quality of education to be provided in our country. The study highlights and outlines the future-centric education system by NAP, introduced by NAP in 2020, by focusing on challenges and the problem faced by education system, with an objective that the university to anticipate, enhance, and resolve the problems faced by the universities and the colleges, and ensure the implementation reform, to put more efforts towards the implementation and reformation of education in the education sector, so that the civil development of the society occurs. Let's embrace the core value in higher education, empowering the generation to come, shaping a better tomorrow. The objective of the study is to build a strong foundation in education to achieve the better quality of life and ensure the nurture and care of citizen, and also to reverse the brain drain by trend by creating the environment that will retain the talent for future development of the country, and also for transforming the Indian culture to reduce the brain drain and boost among the terms economic growth, and enforcing the strict limitation on working and promoting the time of policies, also to provide an acknowledgement and key features by NEP 2020 corresponding higher education, and to comprehend the higher education to rebuild the footprint NEP 2020, and to anticipate the comprehensive various challenges faced by the universities and the colleges towards executing the NEP 2020. Furthermore, the research methodology of this study is descriptive and qualitative in nature. In order to achieve the purpose of my study, I have done a research on strong building foundation of education to achieve the better quality of content by ensuring that my primary objective is being retained to represent and reflect the main objective of NAP and its contribution towards the development of economic development of our country, and also to create an atmosphere towards the innovation and provide a competitive composition to support prospect professional towards the advancements of this important NEP towards, and the contribution towards the development of, and the growth of it. The literature review highlights the contribution of different professionals, researchers like Jayanti Getap in 2021, Dr. A. Shaji George 2024, George Shaji 2023, and Brandio in 2024. They highlighted how the brain drain elites of India, and also they highlights on the proficiency and the talents of the nation is being an origin which is serving in the another countries. Concluding that, I would like to mention what are the strength and collaboration of the government in the business sector to build the environment that promote the growth and professional excellence. Restructuring of Indian higher education and Indic priorities, the primary objective of national education policies by modernizing the overall system, only possible by integrating Indian knowledge system and Indian language mainstream. Also by implementing the policies to employment opportunities, encourage innovation, improve infrastructure, supports the return skilled migrants that can serve the nation effectively and address the reverse ongoing brain drain. Implementation of NAPs also helps to bring the stakeholders along with the government education institution, the private sector, civil society. Let's embrace on the core values of higher education by empowering the generation to come up and shaping tomorrow better. Thank you so much.